Hey, good afternoon, guys. We're sitting up here in Kansas, overlooking one of our buck salad food plots there from Nick's Hardware, and we got Scar, or buck decoy, out here this evening. And we are in a ground blind there. We got a west-northwest wind. It's going to be back and forth there from southwest to northwest to west throughout the weekend. So we'll be jumping from here to the tower blind. We got a couple decent deer and then one real big deer that we're really wanting to look at, and probably, based off all the tac cam footage, I think he's definitely probably a shooter, but once we see him I think we'll know pretty quick. But you got the old Matthews in hand, shooting the Swacker broadheads, 4th Arab camera arm, and really look forward to the weekend hunt here. It should be rock solid weather, going to be in the 30s down into the high teens there at points in the mornings. So we're sitting here, I believe it's November 18th, so it's right there in prime time Kansas deer hunting weather. So we're going to see if old Scar can lure one of these big mature bucks in here and get a good video. And so we're going to go ahead and get quiet. Got the old Zonix running here. We're going to take you along for a hunt. Well, we just got done doing our first and probably only rattling sequence. It's right at like 4:55, something like that. I usually do that about 30 minutes prior to sundown. I did see our big shooter actually about, let's say, 45 minutes ago. He was out there dogging the doe, ran all the way across this field. Ended up having to switch lenses. The deer was about 400 yards away, 300 to 400 yards, but just great to see those quality deer out here. And when we were actually coming in here, I just got some Tacticam video sent to me, and I had one of the I think he's like a mainframe 14 point if he had both sides, but unfortunately he's only got one side, and then the other one's just got like a straight out 3 points. But he's a solid deer, but that one big deer is really the one that we're after there. So we're gonna see what ends up happening in the next 40-45 minutes. See if there's some deer that moved back out here in this food plot. There was 2 does and a fawn that came through here just a few minutes ago. They did not like that Scar decoy out there. They worked their way out here, and then they ran across the field. It did grunt a couple times just to kind of make it more realistic, and I think it actually worked out okay, because they actually kind of came up here and they were about 80 yards directly west of me, and they just took off down the field there and stopped and kept looking back. And just overall, I don't think I really spooked them a whole lot. They're just not used to those decoys being out here that much, and really you're just isolating those big bucks at this point. So we're gonna go ahead and get quiet and see if we don't get that big deer out here on the food plot here before too long, and see if the old Scar can do his job here, and we're going to see if we can get a shot off this evening. So. Alright guys, I actually called that deer in. That deer was the one that we were after. He was out there dogging that doe. This is just an unbelievable season. I've harvested 2 huge, at least 5.5-year-old deer in the last 2 days. That lockdown is phenomenal. This is a prime instance of how that decoy can play into any kind of hunt, and we just got the job done with our #1 hit lister in Kansas. That deer, I ended up grunting at him a couple times. He came out here dogging that doe. He could not resist seeing that decoy. I snort wheezed at him once, and that was a beeline. He came right over here. I wish I could get a little bit better footage of him, but I could not move this camera in time to get him up there. But it's just phenomenal. I absolutely love bringing this content to you guys. It's just a huge passion, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. So we're gonna give this deer a little bit of time there to expire, but the decoy setup, ground blind, perfect scenario there. And it's just one of those things where you just don't give up. You hunt smart, which worked in the past. You just keep with it, and it pays off sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But within probably within a little over 24 hours, I've killed probably 2 of the biggest deer of my life. So just extremely blessed to be able to do this kind of stuff, bring the content to you guys. And we're gonna go ahead and, like I said, we're gonna give this deer a little bit of time, but I think we got a good hit on him, and I mean, he's actually laying dead right out there. So we'll get out here, get this stuff cleaned up, and then we'll go check this deer out. I want to briefly talk about this just real quick of how this setup was. And so here's the decoy, here's my blind. All right, that deer actually worked down in here, held up, and then he worked out into this. and this is where I shot him about 25 yards. So just to kind of give you an example, that west wind was coming from here, west and northwest, so it was pushing it back over to the creek here. So that deer from even here could not win me, and that's why this setup was so successful there. You know, seeing it from that kind of perspective really, I think, shows the whole picture a little bit better there, so I wanted to share that.
Jack! Don't go in there. That is definitely a rat food.
Alright guys, well here he is. He is quite the deer. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 point at least. You know, I can definitely tell this deer by this point right here. The inside hook, got some pretty good trail camera video of this deer, and just really blessed to be able to take that deer. He ended up nose diving right after I shot him there. I'm pretty sure I hit him pretty good. That's the opposite side there, but he is one heavy buck. And you know, I think he's definitely a 4.5-year-old deer. He may be 5.5, but just a rock solid deer for Kansas. Archery gear, and just extremely blessed, you know, be able to share this content with you guys, and you know, provide some additional meat for the family there. So hopefully you guys are getting out there in nature. Like always, best of luck on your upcoming hunt.